We're going to open Adobe Animate and create a new file. In this new file, we are going to choose the character animation setting, HD 1280 by 720, keep the frame rate at 30 frames per second, and make it an HTML5 canvas, and then hit create. Before you get started, go ahead and make sure that your stage fits in your window. And we are going to use the properties panel to start and some of our tools over here. So please follow along. I'm going to get my line tool, and when you get the line tool, I want you to notice a few things. Number one, you have the ability to change colors over here at the bottom of your toolbar. You have a fill color and a stroke color. You can swap back and forth just like you have other software in Adobe. And you can reset to your default black and white here. We're going to create a dashed line. Okay, so if you come over here to the properties, you're going to notice that you have the ability to change the stroke size either by typing it in, and I'm going to make it 3, or by dragging this slider. Now, a stroke is simply a line, or sorry, the line tool is creating a line. So all we're getting is a stroke. We don't actually need a fill color. So I'm going to go ahead and make that color black right there. And I am going to hold down Shift to draw my line. That means that it's going to draw it in a straight line across the page. It's okay if it overlaps and goes off the stage, because remember, whatever is off stage doesn't actually get published. Now, I'd like you to go ahead and get the selection tool, that's your black arrow, and click on this line. And I'm going to go ahead and zoom in so that you can see this a little bit better. Notice how when I select this line that I drew, that it has all of these dots on it. Well, if I look over here at my properties panel, you're going to see that it is calling it a shape. That's because I drew it in what is called shape mode. So let me fit this back in the window again. I'm going to get my line tool, and this can be changed in 2 places, down here or over here in your properties. When it's been selected, this is the object drawing mode method. When it's in object drawing mode, it does have a kind of a gray area around it, which is not really easy to see. So it's something that you really have to pay attention to. So if I were to draw that again in object drawing mode and then select it, you see that it kind of has a blue outline and it says that it's a drawing object. Now, in this particular instance, it's probably not that important which one I do, but in later tools, it will be important. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select the first one that is a shape, and I'm going to hit delete. And if you would do the same so that you have an object instead of a shape. So I'm going to get the line tool again. This time I'm going to change the stroke to red. And I'm going to change the style from dashed to dotted. I have it fit in the window. I'm going to hold down my Shift again so that I can draw a straight line up here at the top of the page. Now I'm going to get my selection tool. And I want you to notice that, by the way, I drew this in object drawing mode again. Okay, it stays in object drawing mode, by the way, until you change it. It stays that way until you change it. So as I hover close to this, notice that the arrow gets a little curve on the bottom of it. Well, if I pull on that curve, on that line, it's letting me make a curve. So I'm going to make a curve down to about that far in the page. If you were not able to drag it or didn't see that curve, it's because you had it selected. So make sure that you click off of it to deselect, and then you'll see that curved line. This would be a good time to go ahead and save. So let's go to File, Save As. You're going to navigate to your OneDrive. You want to make sure you have it synced and your PAAVTC folder. If you don't already have an Animate folder, create one. And this is really important that you're saving stuff here, because as we load stuff onto our Canvas ePortfolio, you want to make sure that you have stuff all in the right place. So when you save a Flash file, an Animate file, it creates a .fla, which stands for Flash. So we're going to name this your period number underscore your last name underscore drawing tools, and click Save. Now that means that it has to have somebody has to have the Flash or the Animate program in order to run it. However, we will also, when we finish, publish it in a different manner. Okay. Okay, so we are going to use the pencil tool next, and it is not automatically on my toolbar. So I'm going to go to these three dots. Here is the pencil tool. I'm going to drag it right up here. Whoops, and it's going to go down there. I guess it doesn't want to go up there, which is fine. So the pencil tool, when I click on it, I'm going to go look in the properties. I do still have object drawing mode turned on, but right next to that, I have pencil mode. And I want you to notice that we have three different kinds of pencil modes: straighten, smooth, and ink. And we're going to go ahead and write with a couple of these so that you can see the difference. Actually, we'll go ahead and write with all three of them so that you can see the difference. We'll start with straighten. And we're just going to write the word straighten. Okay, so let me change that real quick. I want black as my stroke color. And I want to change the style to hairline. No, solid, not hairline, but a 1 stroke size. Okay, now I will write straighten. So even though right there it looks like it has a pretty good curve, when I let go, do you see what it does? So when you use this mode with the pencil, it is trying to straighten out some of the curves. Okay, and I am trying to be careful and actually write fairly neatly, as neatly as possible. Straight. Okay. And then I'm going to choose smooth, and I'm going to write the word smooth. Same thing. And you'll see that anything that is a little lumpy, it does try to smooth it out. Whoops, I don't like that one because that didn't make a complete shape for me. Smooth. And then the last one is ink, and I will write that here. And this is supposed to resemble a little bit more like writing with an ink pen. So it also is smooth. So I'm going to zoom in on these a little bit. And we have, in our toolbar, we have a paint bucket tool. Okay. And with our paint bucket tool, we need to select a fill. So you can choose any colors you want for the fills, but go ahead and choose a few of them. So first, let me demonstrate that by drawing still with the object drawing mode, I do want you to see that when I click on this A, it is still one piece. If you drew something like a T that was in 2 pieces, this may be difficult, okay? So if you are not able, when we get through this, if yours does not work the way that I'm demonstrating, you can go up here to the Modify menu and choose Break Apart, and it will convert it from a drawing object to a shape, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and that filled it in nice and easily, right? I'll choose a different color and go for the G. Another color for the E. And I do think that I did a pretty good job of enclosing all of these shapes. However, and maybe this might be a good demonstration of it, I don't know. Let me try a different color. Oh, no, it worked too. So let's say that let me go back to my pencil so I can demonstrate this. We have like that, okay? So when I go back to my paint bucket, I have this up here, which is allowing me to close gaps or don't close gaps, close small gaps, close medium gaps, and close large gaps. So if I kept it at don't close gaps, it's not letting me fill it in. If I chose close small gaps, still not. Close medium, no. Close large, still not. But I might, if I zoomed out, it might let me. If I zoomed way in, it might let me. So that's one of those things that you kind of have to experiment with. If I break it apart, it also might let me. There it goes. I just broke it apart instead of into a shape, and it did let me there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and select this and delete it and zoom back out so I can see the whole page. Okay, so I'm going to get my rectangle tool, and I'm going to come over here. Again, I want to make sure that my drawing object mode is on. I am going to give it a yellow fill, a black stroke. It's going to just be a regular one stroke size solid. And I want you to notice that when I click and drag to make this rectangle, it allows me to make a rectangle of any size that I want in any direction. But as soon as I hold Shift key down, it makes it a perfect square. So I want you to hold Shift, and I want you to make a little square about that size. And when you click on it, remember it's going to give you that light blue outline showing you that it is a drawing object. I am going to, with it selected, I can Control D, and you may remember from Photoshop that Control D deselects a selection, but in Animate it duplicates. So it is a little bit different here. So I'm making so that I have 3 instances of it, and I'm just going to drag them kind of on top of each other like this. And you may notice that as you're dragging, because we did that in the previous one, we did the snapping, that it's kind of trying to snap it into alignment. I'm going to select the middle one, and I'm going to use my free transform tool, and I can rotate it this way. Okay. However, if I hold the Shift key down while I rotate, it rotates it in 45-degree increments. Very handy. And now I can use my Align panel, and notice that I have all 3 selected. There's multiple ways to select things. I can click on one at a time holding my Shift key, or I can click and drag. That's kind of the marquee method. And my Align panel is here, and I will center align them, and I will distribute the vertical center.